Hi, it's Whitney from EcoVeganGal.com, and welcome back to another weekly Q&A. For those of you watching either live or the recorded video, I have a few standard things just in case you're new. First of all, if you're watching the recorded version of this, you can actually jump forward to different sections by clicking on the YouTube description, and there's little time codes. You can click on whichever one you want to go to, so you don't have to watch the entire thing. I know these are very long, but I've heard time and time again so many great pieces of feedback about how people watch these videos. The more recently, someone told me that she listens to them while she's driving. She actually hooks up her mobile device and just listens to the audio instead of watching the video. So this is very similar to a podcast in that it's more about talking than it is about visuals. I don't actually have very many. I don't know if I have any visuals at all today, and I'll explain why in a moment. If you're watching the live video either this time or in the future, be sure to go to Google Plus if you have questions. I cannot see the questions coming in from YouTube without switching back and forth, so please ask your questions on Google Plus. You can find that at, I believe it's just google.com/the+symbol EcoVeganGal. You can go to the EcoVeganGal Facebook page or Twitter account to find the links to the specific Google Hangouts, or if you can click in any of the description fields on YouTube, you can go to the website. You can easily find the EcoVeganGal Google Plus page to join in. These videos happen every Saturday afternoon, usually mid-afternoon times, but I'm still playing around. The schedule's shifting a lot depending on my schedule and usually if I have guests. Today I don't have guests today, but I have some really, really wonderful questions. So the way the format works is that I have about 5 questions that I answer that are pre-prepared, and then I will open it up to live questions from anybody tuning in on the live Google Plus page. So get your questions ready. You can ask them at any point, and then I'll look at them and answer as many as I can in the time that we have. So, a couple other things. Speaking of questions, I've mentioned this before, but I would love to hear your voice. So instead of just writing me a question either through Google Plus or the link down below to submit it in the future, you can actually use a program called SpeakPipe, and SpeakPipe allows you to send me a digital voicemail. So I can hear your voice and I can play it. I have one that I will be doing in the future so far, but anybody else who wants to chime in, I would absolutely love to hear that. By the way, I hope my the internet connection is good enough. It just occurred to me I'm obviously not at home, so I'm going to try moving to a different part of this place because I really want to make sure that you guys have the best quality video possible, and I think it's much better in a different spot. So you're going to come with me for a moment. So I'll just start with some announcements in the meantime. Well, I just want to explain why I'm not at home. This past week has been absolutely crazy. I definitely feel a little all over the place, and there are multiple reasons for that. So last week when I did this Q&A, should I put this right here? Let me see. Okay, that works. So last week I went to a few events. At the end of last week's Q&A, I was with Elizabeth Castoria, and we went to the Vegan Beer Fest and Beer and Food Festival, which was really, really wonderful. If you're in LA, I highly recommend it. Or if you're not in LA, I recommend just coming, maybe planning a trip. I know some people that plan their trips around the Vegan Beer and Food Festival because it was so much fun. There's just amazing food. Just do a search for it, check out some blogs, some Instagrams. Just a really neat time to connect with other vegans, but it actually had a lot of non-vegans there, which was really neat because the food just appeals to everyone, and beer appeals to a lot of people. So it's a nice way to get people to start experimenting with eating vegan food. So that event was really great. Another event that's been going on for years is called World Fest. That's also in the Los Angeles area, and it is just a celebration. It's got a great vegan aspect to it. It's also got a great environmental aspect. It's solar powered. There's speakers. There's presentations. There's vendors. It's a really neat place to connect and learn more about vegan living and all of that. And I actually got an award this year, which is really an amazing honor, and I got the Ed Begley Jr. Environmental Award, I believe is what it's called. So that was a big honor. Now, the next day, something kind of crazy happened, which has thrown my whole week off. I got an email from Fox TV, and they asked me if I would come on one of their TV shows to talk about veganism. So I had to drop my entire plans that week and get ready for this appearance. They flew me out to New York City, and I filmed with them this past Thursday, so just less than 48 hours ago. Or actually, no, it's probably more than 48 hours ago at this point, but I filmed a segment. I talked about veganism. I represented in this the show called The Stossel Show, and it was a whole episode about different food topics. So that episode will be airing next Thursday. I don't remember I think it's the 29th of May at 9 p.m. Eastern, but I believe all the episodes go up online, so I will link to that, and I'll tell you more about it in the next Q&A video, so you can check it out if you would like. So that was a pretty big deal for me, and I really wanted to feel prepared. So everything that I was doing this past week got pushed aside, moved into this current weekend, so I'm feeling a little all over the place. And I just finished filming for this YouTube channel. I believe, is it just called Blythe Living? My friend Blythe has an incredible channel. She used to have this live show called Blythe Living, or Blythe Raw Living, I think it was called. And I was on that a few years ago, and I got re-invited on to talk about two things. So one of them was about healthy eating on a budget, which is the topic of my upcoming ebook. You can find more information about that in the description field. And the second was how to detox your home. So anything from your water to your mattress to your body products. These are things I've talked about in a few videos recently on the Eco Vegan Gal YouTube channel. So if you're more interested in those topics, stay tuned for those videos. I'll link to those when those are up. And you can also check out previous videos that I've done here as well. So I wanted to apologize. I'm also at a different location because this week is going kind of crazy. I don't have my mic. I forgot some of my visuals for today. So I apologize, but I am looking forward to answering some really great questions live and some that I've prepared. And as usual, I have a few announcements for you, and these are great ones, I think. So number one, I've talked about the retreat many times in Costa Rica, and that is coming up in a month, or I think less than a month now. I believe it's on June 22nd is when it starts. And it's a 7-day retreat in Costa Rica, all about eating raw food, doing detoxing, like I've talked about with detoxing your home, I should say, and detoxing your body at the same time, and yoga, Pilates, and just relaxing, making new friends, exploring Costa Rica, going to the waterfalls, hiking, the rainforest, the ocean, stand-up paddleboarding. I mean, we're going to be doing so much, and a number of you have been so excited about this, but we're a little turned off by the price. So as a group, we decided that we are going to reduce the price for you, and we've cut it down by $800. So now it's $1,200, and I'll have a link down below, or you can find it on the Eco Vegan Gal Facebook page. All the details for this retreat. If you're able to join us, it would be amazing, and it's an amazing value. I mean, what you're going to get in 7 days is incredible. Also on sale is the vegan cruise, and I forgot to look up the details, but they are having a sale, and I'll link to that down below as well. Or if you just look up vegan, gosh, you can tell my brain is not working perfectly right now. I can't remember what they are calling the cruise. I just refer to it as the vegan cruise in the Caribbean. But that's happening this fall in October, so you have plenty of time to prepare for it. The price for that is also amazing, even less expensive than the retreat. And it's a whole week-long cruise in the Caribbean, and all your food's included, your lodging, because you're on the cruise, and it's going to be with a great group of people. You'll be able to learn from me, from Jason Robel, from Isa Chandra Moskowitz, Miyoka Skinner, and a vegan black metal chef, as well as the vegan zombies. All of us are doing food demos there, in addition to lots of great events happening, and you should definitely take advantage of the sale that they're having. So I will link to that with all the details for you, unless you want to look it up right now if you're watching live. But I'm really excited about that, and I think it's great that they're offering discounts on both ends. So I believe that's it. Let's jump into some questions. Oh, Well, one question that we can start off with, which is like half an announcement, is from Jessica. And Jessica said, I want to receive your newsletter, but I'm not currently getting it. I tried to sign up today with email address, and it says I'm already signed up to receive emails. What's happening? So I'm glad Jessica asked this question because I think a lot of people are having this problem. I don't know if it's something I'm doing on my end, but I'm going to have to look further into it. A lot of times with newsletters, for some reason, they get categorized as junk or put in the promotions tab of Gmail. So be sure to look at your junk mail folder as well as your promotion tab. You might want to do a quick search. Just type in Eco Vegan Gal and see if they're in some different folder that they shouldn't be instead of your inbox. So be sure to check that out, and if you haven't signed up for the newsletter yet, I'll have a link to that down below. The newsletter usually has special recipes, video links, announcements. Sometimes I do special giveaways through that. There's a lot of things happening there, and I would be thrilled if you signed up because it's just a further way to stay in touch and hear about what's going on. All right, so let's jump into the questions. First one comes from Laura. Does So Delicious, some products that I mentioned in a recent Q&A video, have pesticides in them, considering they're not organic? So Delicious is one of my favorite vegan brands. They make a number of dairy-free products, and I think they're absolutely fantastic for people transitioning to the vegan diet and for vegans that are looking for really satisfying ice creams and milks. What else do they do? Oh, and yogurts. They have a number of products, and they're made from coconut milk. And I think they might still have a few soy products and almond products as well. So coconut and almond are their two big things. Well, I wanted to let you know that even though they're not organic, they are non-GMO verified. They're part of the non-GMO project. And that basically means there's no genetically modified ingredients in them, even though they're not organic. And this is a topic I've been meaning to cover for a while. Just because something is organic doesn't mean it's non-GMO, and vice versa. So if it's not organic, you still want to look and see if it's non-GMO just to protect yourself from any of the potential health hazards of GMO foods. The next one comes from Carito. I need some suggestions about the food I can eat. I've been vegetarian for almost 4 years, and at some point I was vegan. The only animal product I eat is cheese, but I try to avoid it whenever I can. I want to go vegan again. However, I'm in the military now, and unfortunately we don't have stoves, and therefore I can't cook any type of food. We only have microwaves. So what recipes do you suggest? Are there any microwave recipes, and where can I find vegan products like the ones you show in your videos? I love this question, especially because I don't know much about it, and so I had to do some research. And number one, I wanted to let her know and anyone else interested in this topic, if you actually type in vegan military, you'll find a number of articles out there written by vegans in the military. And I say start with that because you can have firsthand information from people in the military in your position. It's obviously not something that I'm that knowledgeable about. But here's some advice. Number one, I think I would recommend looking to seeing if you can get a hot plate, so some sort of portable stove. I'm really not a big fan of microwaves. I've talked about this in videos before, and I'll link to them. But I personally, there are a lot of different theories on microwaves, whether they're good or bad. I always take the precautionary principle in these cases, which means that if I'm suspicious that something's not good for me, I'm going to avoid it at all costs. I honestly only use my microwave for one thing, and that's to heat up my flaxseed heating pad, or to use it as a timer for cooking. And it also has the fan underneath it. I mean, I wish I didn't even have a microwave in my place. So I used to use it to heat up water, but now I don't do that anymore because it's just as easily done on the stove. You know, it was convenient. When I first went vegan, there are definitely a lot of products out there that are frozen and you can pop them in the microwave. And to answer her question, I'm assuming this is a girl this whole time. I actually don't know if this is a man or a woman off the top of my head, but whatever the gender here, I would avoid using the microwave. But in these specific cases, when it's the only way to cook food, there are certainly some recipes. Microwaves are incredibly convenient. They're fast, they're easy, and you can make a number of different things in them. You can get these frozen meals in them. Are you losing some nutrients? Yes. But are you still going to get the great flavors and satisfactions from vegan foods? Absolutely. So do what you need to do. If you can get a portable little hot plate, that would be great. Also, getting a smoothie would be wonderful. So here are some things I can recommend. Smoothies are fantastic. You can get these little mini smoothies. They're portable, mini blenders. They're portable blenders that you can get, like the Magic Bullet or something, and throw some base, whether it's juice or milk or whatever, in there, along with some vegetables and some fruits, and you have a really satisfying drink that's going to keep you full for a while. But super simple things that you probably don't even need any sort of heating mechanism for are salads, of course. You can get really creative with salads. If you have a refrigerator, you can buy dressings, you can make your own dressings, and just whip up some creative salads. Also, making different types of sandwiches and wraps. You can make hummus wraps. You can make nori sheets, which are like a sea vegetable, roll those up and make various things. They're all different options. And sandwiches, I mean, peanut butter and jelly. You can find meat alternatives to use if you'd like those. You can use different vegan cheeses and things. You can get really creative with sandwiches. One of my favorite things to make is chickpea tuna. So you just take a can of chickpeas and mash it up and put in some vegan mayo if you want. You can put in celery and pickles and all the great flavors of a traditional tuna. That's a super easy thing to make, and you don't need to cook it at all. And I have a few video recipes on that. Soups. You can get canned soups. You can get all types of different soups, and they could be raw soups. They could be soups that don't need to be heated, like gazpacho. You can eat chili without cooking it. These, of course, can be microwaved, though I do recommend keeping that at a minimum. Guacamole. Also, you can make nachos, quesadillas, and tacos in a microwave if you'd like. And the nutrition value of those are not necessarily going to be very high with just cheese and some sort of corn-based product. So I don't think it's that much of a harm using a microwave for it, and then just top it with some fresh vegetables like guacamole and tomato and all of that. And as far as where to get products, there are so many great online resources depending on where you live. Vegan Essentials is one of my favorite places, and they have practically anything you could ever imagine: frozen foods, frozen pizzas, shelf-stable products, all of that. Amazon, of course, is also great. I always try to link to those sites to give you guys options for where you can buy things. So I think it's just important to get creative. You might want to look into raw food recipes because they don't require any cooking, and you can really satisfy yourself with amazing raw foods. Guacamole is a raw food. You know, there are so many different options, and just getting a few great recipe books or going online to find some recipes. You can find so many different options, and I definitely recommend searching military vegan and seeing what other people are doing. Okay, next up. I forgot to write down the name of the product. Actually, I don't think I had a name for this one. I'm 14 years old, and sometimes my dad takes us out to breakfast, and I'm never really sure what to get. My dad's not a vegan, so he can't help me. Do you have any advice for me? Absolutely. So breakfast can feel a little bit tricky, especially if you're going to non-vegan restaurants, right? But here's some foods that you can find practically anywhere. Toast or a bagel, you can put some jam on it, some peanut butter. English muffins, just make sure they're vegan because not all of them are. And same thing, jam, peanut butter. Maybe you could put a little bit of oil on them. Maybe you're lucky to find something like Earth Balance at a restaurant. Oatmeal with fruit, just ask for no milk or ask for soy milk instead. You can get grits. A lot of restaurants have grits across the country. Potatoes. You can get fried potatoes, hash brown potatoes, baked potatoes. Those can be delicious. Just make sure they don't have any butter. Cereal. So a lot of restaurants have cereals that just happen to be vegan. Fresh fruit or a fruit salad. That's always a good choice. If you eat a lot of it, you will feel very satisfied. It's very sweet. Applesauce. Fruit smoothies. Grilled or pan-fried vegetables like tomatoes, onions, mushrooms, peppers, spinach, all that. I love those. Man, just grill the, gosh, tomatoes, onions, mushrooms, oh, that sounds so good. I can eat that right now. Tofu scrambles, you can find those at a lot of places. Now, not all these sound that exciting. Maybe you're looking for like pancakes or French toast. Those are trickier to find at non-vegan restaurants, and depending on where you live in the country, probably challenging, so you might want to stay home and make them yourself because they're very simple. You can also use sites like happycow.com net, actually, and they have lists of vegan restaurants all across the country. They have a mobile app that you can use. So they also list non-vegan restaurants that have vegan options as well. Yelp is amazing. Just type in the word vegan and type in the zip code with where you are, and you will find tons of options and not necessarily vegan places. But I think it's definitely possible. And remember that making food at home can be even better sometimes because you can really control exactly what you're eating and the ingredients that go into it. So let's cover the eat section of Eco Vegan Gal. Usually I have questions related to love, but this week I didn't find any really good love questions. So I would love to hear them from you. Love to hear them. Leave them in the comments if you're watching live on Google+, and if you're watching the recorded video, click the link to submit a question for a future. So love would include your relationships with your friends, your family, your romantic partners. It includes your companion animals. It includes your children, and involves, pregnancy and all stages of that. So any aspect of loving relationships in your life, I love to cover on here as well. But moving on from there, let's go to the look section. So Jessica asked, you've been speaking a lot about Avalon Organics and said that you prefer them to JＡSÖN products, which you have issues with. I use JASÖN shampoos and conditioners, so I was curious and tried to do some research. I couldn't find much that compared and contrasted the two. Can you talk more about that and what research you've done? So I used to really love JASÖN products as well. They're widely available. You can find them all over the place, including stores like Trader Joe's. And they come across as being this natural brand. And overall, their ingredients are generally probably better than the average shampoo and conditioner or sunscreen out there. So I think that they're a generally good line. However, I was pretty surprised when I went on my favorite resource, which is EWG's Skin Deep. I'll link to this down below. It's a phenomenal resource if you're trying to find out if a product is good for you, if it's toxic, if it's non-toxic, if it's really natural, because labeling is not always what it says it is. So we know this with food. You need to check the labels on. Someone's screaming outside. You need to check the labels on your body care products. It's just as important. Your skin is your biggest organ, so whatever you put anywhere in your body is getting absorbed inside. And I talk about this a lot in various videos. So go to EWG's Skin Deep. You can just type that in a search engine and find it, but I'll also link it. If you type in JASÖN, you'll find that they have this kind of scale. I think they have it like 1 to 10, I believe, is the highest, and they basically tell you the hazards of specific ingredients and products overall. And JASÖN actually has a number of products that get a rating of 10, and you really want to look for products that are around under 5, but around 1 or 0 is optimal. But you'll find even some of the better products have a higher number, like a 3 or a 4, and that would be the case with Avalon. And if you click on it, you can actually click through each individual product and read why they got their rating, and it breaks it down by the different ingredients. And there might be some hazards that you're not that concerned about. Basically, they're kind of giving you the worst case scenario with their rating there. However, I felt like when I read and saw JASÖN's score, it really turned me off. And I realized that there were some other alternatives, so I haven't used JASÖN products in a long time. So to answer your question in summary, I think that they're a nice transitionary product. They're inexpensive, they're widely available, but there are definitely some products that are their ingredients are a little bit better. So look for those. I look through every product that I get. I read the ingredient list, I go on EWG's site, I check them out. I really think about it as much as I can. I don't drive myself crazy, but you do a little bit of research, you find the products that are really safe and work well on you, and you won't have to think about it much further. So in terms of Avalon scores usually around a 3 or a 4, and I found that the average for JASÖN I think was closer to a 7. So in a way, Avalon's products are about 50% healthier, if you want to look at it that way. So that's why I prefer Avalon to JASÖN, even though they're both under the Hain Celestial group. So technically, I don't know exactly. I think they're two separate companies, but owned by the same big company, if that makes sense. But we could go much further in detail about this, and maybe I will at some point. So let's move on to the feel section. And Clarissa asked, how do you manage stress, and do you ever turn to food to deal with it? Absolutely. I believe stress is very connected, and food plays a huge role. So how we feel overall has so much to do with our stress levels. When we're eating a lot of processed foods, when we're eating meat or dairy even, we're not helping our body. Our body is not recognizing processed foods, for example, so it has to do a lot more work, so we're going to lose energy, so it's going to be more taxing on our system, like it might make us feel grumpier. If we're eating meat, you know, if you look at it from a specific angle, that meat actually, you're ingesting the fear of an animal, the stress of an animal that was killed. I've always really loved that perspective because I believe in it on an energetic level. We are incorporating this animal that was killed into our body, so it might make us feel more stressed. And again, it's harder for our body to process in a lot of ways. Same with dairy. You might have allergic reactions to dairy, which is stressful for your body. So if you turn to a whole foods plant-based diet where you're eating really high-quality, nutrient-rich foods, your body is easily recognizing it. It can do so much with it. You're going to gain a ton of energy, and it's going to elevate your hormones in a lot of different ways. So I have witnessed firsthand how much of a difference it makes when I eat high-quality, clean foods versus when I eat foods that have been overly processed, refined, lots of sugars, oils, fats, too much salt, all of that. It doesn't feel good on my body. Same thing for me when I was eating a lot of gluten and soy back in the day. My body wasn't responding well to it. So of course I was feeling low energy, and of course I was feeling stressed out. We're each going to differ a little bit here and there. So it takes a lot of experimenting to figure out what your specific body needs. And I'm not coming at this from a nutritionist or medical standpoint. I don't have a degree in either. I'm coming at it from personal experience and lots of research that I've done. But I always encourage you to do your own experimentation, your own research, and talk to some medical experts on this before you come to a conclusion. So coming back to other steps, in addition to eating a really healthy diet, taking breaks is very important for me personally. I spend a lot of time at the computer, a lot of time at home, typing away, doing all my online thing, and I really need to take a break. You might not be able to do this if you have a typical 9-to-5 job. However, I used to find a break anytime I could. Most jobs give you your lunch break, plus some of them will actually give you 15 minutes, at least one 15-minute break. Whether it's official or not, you could always ask for it or just take it. You might want to step outside and breathe in some air, get some sunshine. I actually would take naps. At a lot of my jobs, if I worked close to home, I would go home and take like a short little nap. Sometimes I would nap in my car. For me, that's a whole nother story, but sleep has always been very important, and I try to get in naps whenever I can. So finding times to take naps is important. You might want to, on your lunch break, eat your food while watching a video. Maybe you want to watch one of my videos or someone else who inspires you and brings up your feelings, makes you feel better. You might want to listen to some great music. You know, there are so many different options. Reading, I have always brought books with me to read on my lunch breaks, and reading just really relaxes me. Spending time outside, as I mentioned, having your feet touch the grass makes a huge difference. Being in the sunshine if it's available, just taking a walk, getting your body moving has a huge impact on your stress levels as well. Doing yoga and meditating, again, this isn't always convenient. However, if you need to just step aside from your desk or from your children, wherever you are that you're feeling stressed out, whatever situation it is, from friends, from relationships, maybe you're just stressed out on your own, simply just doing a little bit of stretching. You can figure out a few yoga poses that work for you or other types of exercise that works for you. Moving your body even for just a few minutes can help. Same thing with meditation, taking time to meditate. It could be 5 minutes, 15 minutes, finding a quiet place or putting on some headphones and canceling out any other noise going on. You could do this practically anywhere that you have that time. Meditation, of course, is like one of the #1 ways to reduce stress. Getting enough sleep. You know, I didn't, when I was talking about taking naps all the time, I realized later on I wasn't getting enough sleep, so of course I was tired. But I was also eating foods that were zapping my energy. So sleep plus eating the right foods and exercise are going to reduce your stress levels so much overall. Journaling as well. Writing down your thoughts or even recording videos makes a huge difference. I record video journals for myself. They're completely private and personal. I do those anytime I'm super stressed out, and it helps so much just to verbalize things. Talking to friends, spending time with friends. Trying not to pass on stress to other people is important, but you know, having somebody that can listen in is really important. I also have another video, which I'll link down below, to different products I've used to reduce stress. I love this one product called Rescue Remedy, and it really can help relax your body and take away anxiety. And there are a few other products out there that have, like, some of them are called like Joy Juice. There's essential oils you can put on, all different options, and I'll link to that video as well. But I feel like having the right diet and lifestyle is really going to have the biggest impact for you. Taking time for yourself is really the ultimate solution to stress. So the last prepared question before I open it up to some of the live questions that I'm receiving over here, and again, type those in now so they'll be ready for me. The ACT section. So username Weirdo asked, how do you find out about vegan events like the Natural Products Expo? I want to find out about things like this. And Sarah also asked a similar question. Do you know of any events like Expo that are available for the general public? So real quick, if some of you don't know about Natural Products Expo, it is a business event for people in the natural products industry. And a lot of bloggers go to this nowadays, but it's generally viewed as a business event for distributors and companies and people in the natural products industry to connect with each other and help get the word out about things. So although I talk about this with enthusiasm because I want to share all of the amazing products I'm discovering there, I certainly have found that people feel frustrated that it's not available to the public. Now, Natural Products Expo is special because it's for business, so it's definitely done on a mass level scale. However, there are amazing events happening all the time. I mentioned two of them at the beginning of this video. World Fest happens in Los Angeles every year. Vegan beer and food festivals now happening on an annual basis. And those are just in Los Angeles. There are events all around the country. There's another one, I think it's the Fancy Food Show, I believe that's open to the public, that I've heard, I haven't been yet, but I've heard it's very similar to the Natural Products Expo. There's also Green Festival, which happens all across the country in the major cities, and that is not necessarily vegan, but it has a lot of vegan aspects to it, and it's also got a big environmental aspect. The best way to find out about these type of events is to just be in touch with your community. I talk so much about going to things like meetups. If you go to meetup.com, you can find local meetups. When you know a lot of people in your community, they're going to just tell you when things are going on, and that's the best way. Word of mouth, as always. But if you don't have specific people physically in your life that you are connected with, go online. So use social media, Twitter, Facebook, those are great for these type of things. Instagram. Just follow a lot of people that are in your area that are also vegans or have the same interests of you, and you're going to start to see what they're doing and where they're going. Start conversations with them. Ask them what they're up to. Ask them to keep you posted. You can sign up for newsletters. So if there's a blogger in your area, a content creator, a speaker, whatever it may be, maybe a restaurant, they'll often add events to their newsletters. And restaurants are great for this reason, or any small local business. They're often going to events to promote themselves. So if you're connected with them, you're going to find out where they're going. If you like them, you're probably going to like the event that they're part of. So just kind of staying in touch with your community there. And doing research. There are definitely sites that have calendars that tell you what's going on around the whole world. You can check those out. A simple search, typing in the word vegan event and then the name of where you live, you'll probably find a number of things, and many of them may happen annually, so you can plan for them. And lastly, I would say start your own events. These vegan beer and food festivals are a perfect example. I think this is the third year that they've done it, and it was started by a blogger in the LA area that you may know of called Quarry Girl, and she started it along with a local I think he's a restaurant owner, and now they have this event that just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. They had this idea, they put it together, and now you have it. So if you're not finding enough in your area, start it yourself, and people will start to come to it. Ask local businesses, ask local people. You can start it out of your home, your backyard, the park down the street, and just watch it expand. That's how most of these events happen. I know Natural Products Expo is huge, but I've heard back in the day it was much smaller, just like any other event. And they're also just looking for vegan festivals are huge, or vegetarian festivals. They happen everywhere, and a lot of them may be similar in the terms of vendors and samples and speakers and all of that. So yes, Natural Products Expo is wonderful, but don't feel like you're really missing out, because if you're not working in the industry, it's not really meant for you anyways. The events that you want to go to are the public events that are meant for everybody to come to and learn and meet each other and experience it. All right, so now I'm going to open it up. I just have 2 questions right now, so this might be a short video today. Anybody else watching, please chime in with whatever topic you want. So the first one comes from Eduardo. What type of fruits can I use to wash my hair? Wow, okay, this is a tough one. Well, I don't know about fruits off the top of my head. I'm sure there's some great info about this online, so you might want to just do a quick search for it, and I can do a follow-up to this question later on. But I do want to mention the no poo, which poo stands for shampoo, not the other type of poo. But this is a method of washing your hair just by using baking soda and, I believe, yeah, baking soda and vinegar, as well as your water. So you bring those in and you just use those like shampoo. And it's an interesting process. I tried that a few years ago and didn't love it, but it's something you have to try for a long period of time. They say a month at least it takes for your hair to adjust to it. But it allows you to have a super inexpensive and eco-friendly way of cleaning your hair, and it's probably the most natural that you can get, aside from just washing with water. But I've also met, Eduardo, I'm assuming you're a man here, a lot of men don't use shampoo. If you have short hair, you just massage your scalp with water, you're probably going to get really good results. You're just trying to take out dirt, right? Just combing it, brushing it enough is going to get that out. But you can use things like coconut oil that can be used. You could put that into your hair as kind of like a oil treatment and wash that out, although because of the oil, you're still going to need something to grab the oil out of your hair. I've heard all sorts of different things, but I think it'd be really neat to experiment with different fruits. I bet you if you combine a fruit with some water and dilute it enough, why not? Experiment it. It'll probably make your hair smell really good, and you might get some different results. So I would love to hear what you play around with, and if anybody else is watching and has tips on that or has read things on that, please let us know. And otherwise, I will maybe address this in a future video once I have some time to research it. And the second question here comes from Casey. Casey says, I have been using organic peppermint extract for mental cognitive clarity. What are other oils that might mix well with peppermint to also help with stress reduction? You know, I don't know if this question came in before or after the stress question, but I'm glad that you asked. We can tie this in. So off the top of my head, peppermint is definitely great. Let me see real quick. One of my favorite companies is called JＡSÖN, and they have a great line of products here. I did a whole video on JASÖN if you want to learn more about them, and I'll link to them as well. I'm going to go to their website because they have so many great resources on essential oils. What JASÖN does is they put together essential oil blends for various aspects. Let's see here. They have a whole section on their site called emotional blends. So one of my favorite is called Smile. It smells divine. I use it as a perfume, and it's meant to help with comforting and calming you. And here are the ingredients. It has jasmine, geranium, bergamot, sandalwood, frankincense, vetiver, vanilla, and jojoba. So I would guess that the first few are probably meant for it. So jasmine, for example, they say right here, jasmine is unique for its alignment with spirit, while sandalwood, frankincense, and vetiver are strengthening. Geranium is not only a natural antidepressant, but it also strongly supports any stress-related condition. For most people, geranium simultaneously calms and energizes. So that's a phenomenal option there. And again, you don't have to buy the specific product from JＡSÖN. You could mix it yourself or just use whichever one appeals to you most. And they have another one called Pause for Peace. And this is for helping you relax and kind of getting into that meditative zone. So this one has, where are the ingredients? Sandalwood again, cardamom, rose, vanilla, vetiver, ylang ylang, and frankincense. This one doesn't go into quite as much detail on the page here, but we already know about a lot of those ingredients. So I guess it just has a different mix, a different scent, and maybe a little bit more of a relaxation aspect to it than an energizing like the other one. And you can put essential oils on the corners of a yoga mat while you're doing yoga, which we talked about being great for stress. You can put it on the palms of your hand. That's usually where I put mine, is right here. And I like to put it on my neck as well, breathing it in. You can put it on your heart. They recommend this before meditation. I love this. You can put a drop on your bookmark. We talked about reading, so you can open up your book and have all these amazing scents happening. Put it on a towel, and if you hang the towel in your bathroom while showering, the steam will carry the aroma. Put it in a bath. Put it on your lower back. Let's see, their temples are great. There's so many different ways to work with essential oils. I just love the smell. I mean, aromatherapy alone is amazing, but these essential oils have so many great benefits to them well beyond just the smell of them. And whether you believe in it or not, I think it's worth playing around with. At the very least, you have a nice perfume to wear. So check out the JASÖN video I did if you want to learn more about them specifically, and I'll link to it down below. So we've got some more questions coming in. This next one is, Mary Kate, do you have any type of morning routine? Any tips for getting the day started off in the best way possible? Well, Mary Kate, I am not necessarily the best person to ask about this because I have a very non-traditional, for best way to say it, way of living. So meaning I actually stay up very late at night and wake up pretty late in the afternoon. So I usually am not up in the morning. However, if you think about morning routine, it's not really about the hours. It's more about like when your day gets started. So I'll address it from there. My routine is usually to wake up in bed and just lay there for about 15 minutes. I find that personally I need 15 minutes to fully become conscious and ready to get out of bed. Sometimes I'll stay there longer. I have the benefit of working from home, so I make my own schedule. And to be honest, I really felt drawn to that because I have always hated waking up early and feeling rushed to get somewhere. Now with the life I've created for myself, I'm able to just stay in bed for an hour if I want, if I don't feel ready to get out, or sleep later than I want. Not everyone has that lifestyle set up, but I believe that pretty much anyone could choose to have that lifestyle if they wanted. But that's a whole nother topic. So for me, it's just giving myself time to really wake up and feel ready. I also have tried not to turn on my cell phone right away. I've heard many health experts and just stressless living experts say turning on your cell phone right away is not great for your energy. So what happens is you're turning on your cell phone, you're going to get text messages and emails, and suddenly you're bombarded with all this outside information. This can take away from your productivity, this can add more stress, that can change the whole course of your day. What I like to do is actually to write out my ideal schedule the night before. So before I go to bed, I write out all the things I want to accomplish the next day, and I try to review this mentally when I wake up before I turn on my cell phone or start reading my email, because sometimes I'll get an email and I'll be tempted to go in a different direction and leave behind the things that I wanted to do. So basically, it's starting off your day with the right intentions, and this might be accomplishing things, this might be how you feel. If you have a tendency to feel stressed out or anxiety, have bad moods, simply starting off by waking up in the morning and just consciously saying, I'm going to have a great day, I'm going to eat healthy, I'm going to get some exercise in, I'm not going to feel stressed, I'm going to be happy. Just giving yourself those mental affirmations. You might even want to say them out loud if there's no one around or if other people around don't mind, which they shouldn't. I think that just getting off on the right track mentally is huge. Essential oils can help. You might want to start off your day with having an essential oil blend or a specific oil you can put on, and that boosts your mood and it gets you going. Well, I'm not doing these in numerical order. So the next thing I would say is drinking water right away. You get dehydrated when you sleep, so flushing your body with water is very important, and I generally advocate for room temperature water so you don't shock your system. So drinking a big glass of water first thing before you do anything else. It's usually what I do when I get out of bed. And I personally love to have green juice early in the day too. Green juice is my caffeine, and it's caffeine free. So instead of having coffee or tea, green juice boosts my energy. I got all these nutrients. Literally, sometimes I will drink green juice, and within a minute I will feel completely different. And it's like your body is saying, yes, thank you. I have so much to do with all these nutrients now. That's a great way to start off on a positive, upbeat note in your day. Of course, breakfast is good too, but I've never been a big breakfast eater. That's why green juice is great for me, or a smoothie, or something really light personally. But you might be the type of person who loves to eat a ton of food. You've given your digestive system a huge break, and your body's going to want some sort of energy. So putting something healthy in your body first thing is really important. I would say that's probably the bulk, is really starting off on the right note, making sure I get the right nutrients, and just starting my day with the intention of having a great day. You might want to do some stretching, you might want to do a little bit of exercise. Some people enjoy meditating. It's really going to depend on you, but you have to just think about what your goals are for each individual day, and that's going to help you decide what your routine is. I don't know if you were asking about things like my makeup and beauty routine and all that. That'll be covered in some other videos that are coming up. But I am just not one of those people that's on a very standard schedule. Every day is a new day for me. I would say giving myself at least 15 minutes, drinking water, and usually having green juice are like the top 3 things I do, and not checking my email right away, and having those kind of intentions and figuring out what I'm going to do before anybody else has a chance to influence my day. I want to be in control of that. I want to accomplish certain things, and maybe you still have a job, you still want to accomplish things, right? So not being too swayed by some last-minute plans that come up. Figure out what you want to do before somebody else intervenes and changes your mind. I hope that helps you out. Okay, next one up comes from Gabby. Do you have any recommendations for binge eating? I'm assuming that this means what do you do if you have a tendency to binge eat? And let me know if I'm wrong there, Gabby. Well, I have talked very openly about the fact that I had somewhat of an eating disorder before I went vegan, and I'm grateful to say it's for the most part gone. However, binge eating is something that I have a lot of experience with. For me personally, for some reason I have this weird mental thing where I don't feel like I'm going to get enough food. I don't know where that came from. I need to figure that out, because when food is presented to me, like especially when I know that I can have multiple servings, I will literally, to this day, eat my food as fast as possible so that I can have more. And it is such a weird thing. It's probably one of the most unhealthy things that I do, because I'm not giving myself time to chew, which is really important. I'm not slowing down to appreciate the food, and I probably end up overeating. Now, binge eating is a little bit different from that. My personal experience with that was emotionally, I would eat a ton of food that I knew would elevate my serotonin. So sugary foods, oily foods, salty foods, any sort of the unhealthy processed foods, I would just eat a ton of those, and I don't know if I was ever full-blown bulimic, but I would make myself throw up. And so I would eat a ton of the food, so it's called binging and purging. I would eat a ton of that food, immediately feel guilty about it, and purge. And it was a huge problem. I went to a therapist for this, I went to a nutritionist, and ultimately it got me closer to veganism, because I realized that I could be so satisfied by food by eating healthy plant-based food, and my body felt great. We talked about this earlier today about how food influences your stress levels. I think emotionally I was going towards processed foods and binging on them because it made me feel good. Processed foods give you this like instant burst of happiness, right? They're chemically altered that way. They've got ingredients in them that are known to trigger things in our brains and make us feel good, but eventually we feel worse afterwards. And it could be an emotional worse, physical worse, or both. And I guess in my mind I wanted that quick fix of having those chemical experiences in my brain, and then the quick fix of getting rid of them and trying not to feel guilty about it. It was horrible, and I'm so glad that I've come so far, and I no longer feel any desire to do that because of just all my healthy living choices. So I think, Gabby, it's going to take a lot of inner work and just really get into the core of why you're doing it and figuring out why you're eating what you're eating and why you're eating so much of it. If you're binge eating on vegetables, I would say that's probably a good thing to do, but I'm guessing binge eating usually has to do with unhealthy foods, processed foods, and if there's any purging involved, you know, it's a challenge. If some people binge eat and don't purge, and they're finding themselves gaining a lot of weight as a result. So you have to first tap into what's going on with you and why you want to stop and what the root of it is. I highly recommend going to a specialist for this. That changed so much for me by seeing a therapist and a nutritionist as well, as understand what foods I can have. And ultimately, that was a huge reason for why I do what I do now, because I want to educate people on how good you can feel by eating whole plant-based foods. We have this weird association with plant-based vegan foods being unsatisfying. But for me, wow, I mean, the simplest foods can be amazing. A watermelon. I eat a whole watermelon and I'm just like on top of the world for hours. Green juice, as I just said, wow. I mean, green juice to me is one of the most amazing foods ever. It's incredible. So start bringing in more of those foods into your life. Experiment with what makes you feel really good. And this is going to take some time. But trust me, when you figure it out, you will be so grateful and you won't believe what you used to eat. I mean, I can't even relate to what that felt. Now, I still love my sugar. That's an ongoing battle for me, but I've found a lot of great alternatives to the refined sugars and products out there, and that's why alternatives are fantastic. Peanut butter cups. I love peanut butter cups, so I have the JＡSTON's organic peanut butter cups instead of Reese's peanut butter cups. They still have sugar in them, but they're a lot healthier than Reese's peanut butter cups, and it's a nice treat to have every now and then. Or I make my own and do them with stevia, with no sugar. Just make some, you can make raw versions of these things. There are so many options out there. You just have to start exploring and experimenting, and I'm always here to help. This is such a very personal topic for me, and I would be more than happy to support you in any way that I can. I hope that answered your question. And lastly, the last question I'll answer today, I'm always afraid I'm going to pronounce his name wrong. I'm just going to go with Vahe, V-A-H-E. Please remind me how to pronounce your name. I hate mispronouncing names. He asked, what's the best way to filter out fluoride from water, and is it dangerous in tap water? I actually addressed this in some videos I did recently, if you haven't checked those out. I don't know if this is on top of that question, but I did some videos with Ron and Lisa. It was called the, what was it called? Extreme Healthy Home Makeover is what I called those videos, and there's two. And I had Healthy Home experts, Ron and Lisa, come in. They actually have a phenomenal guide, and I've linked to that. I'll link to it down below in this video, but in those videos as well, which go much more in depth in this subject, they have a whole guide about how to choose a water filter. So you need to find a great water filter that works for you. I highly recommend getting your water tested to know what specifically is in your water, and then get a water filter that matches that to make sure you're taking out. And this is all advice that Ron and Lisa give. Water filters can be on the pricey side, but they are a very important investment to make. If you're not able to spend the money, or, well, I shouldn't say able, if you choose not to spend the money at that point on a water filter, get any type of water filter you can. Most water filters take out fluoride. Well, I can't actually say that. I wouldn't say most. A lot of water filters take out fluoride. So just make sure when you buy them that they can take it out. But remember, if you get a cheap water filter, you don't have a guarantee there. The more expensive the water filter, usually the better quality it's going to be and the purer your water is going to be. So just look it up. There's that yelling again. People are having fun outside. And I got to wrap things up anyways. But just do some research. Check out Ron and Lisa's guide and do the best that you can. We definitely don't want fluoride in our bodies, so finding even the most basic water filter that removes fluoride will be a step in a very good direction. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching today. I have more information on ecovegangal.com, and since you're watching this on YouTube, more likely than not, check out the other videos. I will link to any videos that I've referenced today. I try to cover a wide range of topics here, and this is exactly why I do this Q&A. I want to make sure that each of you feel heard, let you know that you're part of the community, that we're all in this together, and making sure that we are all supportive of one another. So comment on other questions here. Chime in with your personal experiences. Feel free to answer questions. I'm sure some of you are more knowledgeable on some topics than I am, like the military topic. Wow, I don't know about that one. So I would love to hear more perspectives from anyone, any links to articles. Chime in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe to this channel so you can catch the next Q&As when they happen, and also be part of the social media community to know when they happen. Google Plus is where it's at, but I always link to it on Facebook and Twitter as well. And the newsletter, as I mentioned, all those links to all different aspects of Eco Vegan Gal are down below in the description field. Thank you so much for watching and participating. I love having these conversations and having you all watch. I love hearing your feedback as well, so if you have specific things you would like to see happen or not happen in these videos, let me know. And coming up soon, I have 3 guests planned for in the future, and I will announce them when everything is confirmed. But we're going to be talking about ex-vegans at some point, which is a very interesting topic. We're going to be talking about the crossover between paleo and veganism, and we'll also be talking about organic living. I have 3 amazing experts coming in for those different topics, and I can't wait to introduce you to them. Thank you so much. I will see you next time, next Saturday, right here on Google+. Have a great day, and I can't wait to read all your comments. Don't forget, if you have questions, don't leave them in the comments, please. Add them to the link down below so that I can make sure I get to them. All right, bye.